Hey everybody, Troy here, and wanted to share with you some of our recent additions that we've had, acquisitions within the home, and wanted to start with a couple of things just to show you some ideas. One thing that just arrived in today's mail, one of the things was this. It's an ink blotter. So if you ever get those really wet writers and instead of waiting for the ink to dry, the old-fashioned, put your hand out, ink blotter. So that was pretty cool. That was only like $6-7 shipped. So I went ahead and got that, and along with it, I actually got in the mail, and I forgot to dig these out ahead of time, some replacement paper. So it's ink blotter paper to go with it. So got those from two different companies, and they both arrived the same day. So not a bad deal. Let's see, what else do we get? Why don't I do the first thing first. It was our 9th anniversary, and what I decided to do was give my lovely bride a gift. Sometimes we just give each other ourselves and time away together. We really believe in that. This for us both is the second time around in marriage. Both of us know what it's like to have dealt with infidelity. And so we know not to do that to one another, and we know what it feels like. So we have decided early on in our relationship that we were going to work on our relationship together and invest in it, because we wanted this to be a long-lasting and beneficial relationship for us both. So just over 9 years ago, I said I do to the lovely Sharon. And I'm going to put up a picture right now. This is my favorite picture of all time. This was from our wedding day, the day I took my lovely bride, and I also gained a stepson who I had met when he was just 4 years old. And since then, we've added 2 other sons. Some of you have seen Matthew. He was our honeymoon baby that we conceived just after, like the day after that picture was taken. So one of the things I gave her was a Levenger True Writer that I had purchased several months back and had stuck away. And Levenger has always had a decent reputation. Everybody I've heard of who has either reviewed or owned or just talked about Levenger has actually had some decent things to say about them. So, I ordered one, and I've had this one now for a little while. I got this for the autumnal colors that's upon it, and I shared it with you one time already, so I knew it was going to be a decent pen. What sucked about it was the ink I put into it. I really didn't like it. So I'd flushed it out, and I haven't refilled it with anything else. But I knew it was going to be a decent or a quality pen. So I ordered my wife a Levenger True Writer. So it came in this box here, which is your standard Levenger box, and out of it came this. This is the amethyst, I do believe, color, and it's almost like a demonstrator. And you've got the screw on top. So you've got on the cap, you've got that finial. You've got that Levenger cap there with a clip. It looks similar, very similar. And you've got the band around here that says right on it, that says Levenger, and then it says True Writer in script. And then you've got the barrel. Just got another little jewel on the bottom there, black jewel. I got her a medium steel nib on it. And it takes a converter. And this particular converter, I went ahead and filled with some really nice looking ink. I'll share that with you here in just a moment. But I can tell you this. This little Levenger True Writer is actually one of the smoother pens I've written with in a long time. I think it writes better than the one that I've got, quite honestly, and I was very impressed with her. I put in some Diatramentis Magenta Violet, and you can see that right here at the bottom. That's what that particular color looks like. It is a really nice looking purple, and since it was an amethyst or purple color pen, I went ahead and filled it with that. So we have added a nice, smooth, Beautiful pen. Mass Drop is selling Levenger True Writers right now as we speak, because I just got an email from them today for like $63. I can tell you this, they can be found for less than that, brand new, and I did. But it was a pretty good investment. So Levenger True Writer. You get the chance to get one of these in a medium nib. I got a scratch right there on the bridge of my nose. Really good writing, solid pen. This is the second one, like I said, in our family, and really enjoy that particular pen. So, I'm kind of jealous because hers writes just a little bit better than mine. But I'm going to put a different ink in mine, and we'll see how well that writes. So we have his and hers True Writers. I'm going to share next a pen that my wife had ordered on her own. You know, my wife now has over 50 pens in her collection, and so she's been ordering some here or there that she'll find a good deal. So in this box right here, you've got a plain paper sleeve, and then you've got this box, Zenzoi, Zenzoi, not really sure how you pronounce it, but it's a Chinese pen, and you open it up, and ooh, it's an empty box. No, actually I've got the pen sitting right here in front of me. But you get this little thing in here from the company for instructions, for information, useful tips on how to use the fountain pen and cartridges, and they give a website to go look at it, plus a coupon for $4 off your next purchase if you go directly from them, zenzoi.com. So, never heard of it until she ordered it. Look at that. Looks like the Pink Panther. Either that or, you know, Pepto-Bismol? I don't know. But it's actually not a bad looking pen if you like pink. I mean, obviously being a guy, not my favorite color in the world. Actually, I like the amethyst because purple is my favorite color. But, you know, it's got, you know, the gold tone cap, and it's got the pink finial clip, which is not a bad, it's a nice little springy clip, and it kind of tapers down towards where the barrel meets the cap. And then it's just a slight taper both ways. It kind of bulges just a little bit through here and then tapers down towards the end, and you've got the all gold tone in the end. So you've got the gold tone meeting the gold tone. It just says Zenzoi right there. You pull it apart and it's got, you know, the gold tone section and in the nib. And this also is a cartridge converter pen. You can see the ink sloshing around in there. In this one, I put in a Noodler's Hellfire HL, which comes out kind of pink. And it's got a nice medium nib. Like I said, never heard of this particular brand before, and I've got to do still a little research on it. But it actually wrote fairly well. Just a little on the fine side of medium. And that's what this right here, that particular ink looked like with the writing sample that I did. So the Zenzoi, that's what I'm going to call it for now. So not bad, you know, really, really not bad. I cannot complain about the way that came out. So the third pen that we got when we were out on our little mini vacation was one that I had had on my watch list for a long time on eBay, and I couldn't decide whether or not to get it or not. And I just went, I'll just, don't worry about it. And then I actually saw Chris Rapp 52, if you look at his YouTube channel, he did a review of this particular pen. And when I saw that pen, I said, okay, well, I've been watching that pen for a while. I didn't know anybody else who had it, so I figured I'd go ahead and order it. So, as you know, Chris does a lot of Chinese pens here lately. It's been his recurring theme. So I ordered a pen from here, Shanghai Jiegu Stationery Company Limited. Well, the bottom line though, it's a Jinhao. Now, Jinhao has really stepped up their game. You've got all Chinese markings here, and then you've got, you know, Jinhao craft pen inspired from the long history and splendid tradition culture of China that contribute to the fine artistic elements in design concept, and it's processed and finished by world-leading techniques. Thanks to the original design, top materials, and exquisite craftsmanship, it stands for the excellent quality, the trend in the read, R-E-A-D-E, The valuable for collection and the witness to history Jinhao writing instrument. So, bad translating, but okay. So you open it up. It's a leather case. Real leather. I mean, this isn't fake leather here. This is actually real leather. Jinhao has stepped up their game. Okay? So they got their logo right here. You open it up, and a little card just fell out of it. But you got, this. And sitting in this particular box was that right there. This was the Jinhao Dragon Pen. Now, like I said, I'd watched it for a little while. I own another Jinhao that has a Chinese logo or a Chinese dragon design on it, the Jinhao 1200. I didn't think to grab it earlier, but I'm thinking about it right now. You may have seen me present this pen previous, and this is their 1200, and you've got the dragon clip with the little red eyes on it. Well, this particular pen is kind of like a pewter looking design, and you got the relief on the pen here, and you've got the same kind of concept of the dragon head with a little, ruby, well, obviously it's not going to be real ruby, but fake ruby eyes on it. And it's actually, believe it or not, this pen is like $7.50, somewhere in that price range, delivered to my door. Now, folks, I've gotten pens that have been $300 or more that weren't presented as well as a $7.50 pen. All right, so they actually, Jinhao stepped up their game. They gave a really nice presentation box, a decent looking presentation cardboard sleeve on the outside, and then this particular pen. It's a clipless pen, so if you're looking for something that you can shove in your pocket, forget it. This pen, when you first pick it up, one of the first things you realize it's all metal, except maybe the end caps here, but it's heavy. It's weighty. Then you think about it, well, gee, am I going to be able to write with it? Gee, I don't know. Well, wait and see. So, you twist off this cap, and you want to post it, fine. You can put it on, and it screws down on that small cap. So, you've got this pen here, very short section. There's really nothing to grab a hold of with the section. So, I've been writing it with it like right through here, and I wrote for a while with this thing. My wife checked it out. She said, I don't think I could write with that. I don't think I could hold it. I got to be honest. I did better with it than I thought. I'm holding it further back than I prefer. You can still hold down here in the section if you want to get a fingertip in, but you got the cap threads right there, and then you've got that dinky little black section with that gold trim, and you got a smaller nib than I'm used to. But quite honestly, it is comfortable in the hand. It is heavy. That cap on the back does not backweight it because all the weight, be honest with you, is right here in the section, the center of this pen through here. So you got to fill it. Well, find out that you grab here and you unscrew, and here you've got your typical. Yeah, you can tell I've been using that pen quite a lot because a lot of that ink is now started to is gone now. I've used a lot of that ink I had in here. I got a Lamy Black that I put in this thing. So I was surprised that I was able to write with it better than I thought I would. So it actually holds fairly firm in the hand if you grab up above that section. And yeah, you feel the bumps when you do that, and it's not as uncomfortable as I thought it would be, surprisingly enough. So I was also pretty surprised with how well it wrote. I didn't know what to expect. I've had some Jinhaos that were pretty good. This Jinhao 1200 was actually, out of the Jinhao line of pens, the 159 and the 1200 were my two favorites. And this is now one of my three favorite Jinhao pens. A lot of people will down Jinhao, but I'm telling you, folks, they have stepped up their game. That's actually what I consider a quality pen for only $7.50 delivered to my door. I mean, it looks kind of cool. If nothing else, just the fact that I got a pretty cool looking dragon relief sculptured pen, and I only paid $7.50 for it, delivered to my door, come on. I'm not a pen snob where I've got to pay $1,000+ for a pen. Although there are still pens in that price range that I want, and I've been chasing. And I've been chasing a lot of vintage pens here lately, and there's some others that are within my targets as well. But that happened to be one. Like I said, it was on my watch list. Didn't know whether to get it. Saw someone review it, and I said, "All right, I'll give it a shot." Just because Chris seemed to like it, I'll give it a try too. And I got to agree with him that it's actually a good value and it's a decent pen. It was a lot better quality than I figured it would be. So there's my little writing sample of that. Hey folks, figured I would also give you the writing sample, just so you can see what these are, as well as some size comparisons for these 3 pens. I'm not going to give you the full rundown on each of these as far as all their dimensions and that kind of thing, but wanted to at least throw these out here. So here's a TWSBI Eco, so you can see how these 3 pens compare to that. Since we had a Jinhao sitting here, this is a Jinhao 992, so you can see how that compares to these others. Another Jinhao. Here is the 450. So that gives you an idea of how, if you're familiar with the 450. And the Pilot Metropolitan. So some size-wise comparisons there as far as these 3 pens. So the Levenger True Writer, the Zenzoi, and the Jinhao Dragon Pen. So let's go ahead and get all these out of the way. And let's go ahead and start with the Levenger True Writer. This, like I said, was a really nice writing pen. It posts very well, and I really enjoy this particular ink. So, here we go. The Levenger True Writer. This one has a medium nib. This pen writes so smoothly. It's almost unbelievable that it writes this smooth. I was really impressed with it. I mean, you barely touch the page, and you have some excellent ink flow. Good amount of ink that way, as you can tell. Let's see, what else can I do for you? I mean, don't expect a huge amount of line variation. What you can expect, however, is an incredibly wet, very smooth, very, very smooth writer every single time you try it. And I gotta be honest, this Diatramentis ink, that's just a gorgeous purple. Look at that, folks. I mean, the Diatramentis magenta violet, I think this is one of my nice new favorite purples. So there you go, the Levenger True Writer. Now let's go ahead and look at a different one. Let's try the Zenzoi. Oh, that's a. Now here I am thinking you gotta screw it off like I was the other one. So here you go. The Zenzoi. I don't know a model. There's no model marking on it whatsoever. Now this particular pen, like I said, writes a little finer than it does medium. So it's a little finer, and it's not quite as wet, but you can see the difference between the two, the wetness between those two. But it actually still, believe it or not, is a fairly smooth writer, and it's got a little bit of paper that I got stuck on the end there, so that's why it's going to write just a little bit. There you go. But anyway, now that I got that little piece of debris off the tip, see how fine that writes? It doesn't give you a huge amount of variation, but it's actually still a decent writer. It's not one that I would throw away. It's not one that I would put out of my collection. So the Zenzoi, Not a bad pen for what it is. I have no idea how much my wife paid for it because it's her pen and I didn't ask. So, the Dragon Pen. The Jinhao pen. The Dragon. Now, this pen here also writes just a little bit on the fine side for a medium nib, but you're going to see that it writes a little wetter than did that Zenzoi, and it still is actually very smooth. Now, you may be able to hear just a little bit of that feedback, but don't be deceived. This is actually a very smooth, nice writing pen. And that Lamy black actually lays down fairly nicely. You do fast strokes, you can see that there's just a little lighter on the ink flow, but still, it's still very nice. And like I said, it's a little odd holding it up this far, but it still is able to control fairly nicely. Alright, well, those are the new additions to the family, so I just figured I'd throw that in there, the really quick writing sample for it. If you're just looking for something cool, then this is actually a pretty cool looking pen for a decent price. This is going to be a lot more expensive. You can probably pop these for somewhere around $45–50 if you look hard enough to find them, but they're worth it because it's a great writing pen. And this wasn't bad. So if you're interested in finding something just a little different, that looks a little different, and is a brand that you may never have heard of, to add to your collection, there you go. Hey, that's what's new. Feel free to put your comments below. If you have any questions, put them. And I'll tell you what, you got questions in general, go ahead and make some comments. Maybe we'll do a Q&A session in the future. So that's the latest news from here. Ciao.